Spider-Man: No Way Home trailer breakdown and analysis. The first trailer for Spider-Man: No Way Home is here, and it has drastic implications for Peter Parker, the Marvel multiverse, and the future of the MCU as a whole. Here's what it all means. It's finally here. We truly never thought it would arrive for a while. But sure enough, the first Spider-Man: No Way Home trailer has arrived. And just as you might have expected from the veil of secrecy that surrounded it, it would appear that at least some of the crazy multiversal rumors about this movie are true. From its MCU multiverse-shattering central concept to the presence of both Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange and Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus, with hints of even more characters yet to be revealed, Spider-Man: No Way Home looks like the biggest Marvel movie since Avengers: Endgame, and seems likely to set up future MCU Phase 4 projects, most notably Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. In other words, there's a lot to unpack here. Here's everything we've found so far. Okay, now let's get to work. The fallout from Far From Home, as we all remember, the previous Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man: Far From Home, had a rather shocking ending, and one that didn't exactly leave Peter in the best place. Thanks to the machinations of Mysterio, Peter found his secret identity outed by J. Jonah Jameson, and the world now knows he's really Spider-Man. We see glimpses of this in the opening moments, with Peter seeming to have a combination celebrity pariah status, and it's negatively affecting MJ and Ned Leeds as well. One classmate this seems to be going well for? Betty Brant, who we briefly glimpse on a TV screen in the high school, presumably reporting on this whole mess. One fun detail about this? MJ is reading the real-world New York Post, which on its own isn't funny. The Post is a rag, except for the sports coverage, but in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies, the Daily Bugle's logo and layout were clearly modeled on the Post's. Another subtle reminder that this isn't the world of the Raimi movies, and that the Daily Bugle of the MCU probably spent the last 5 years telling people to take ivermectin to bring their snapped loved ones back. That headline says Spider-Minions, and I'd bet the puppets on the webs are MJ and Ned. Zendaya's "Yes, My Spider-Lord" is legit hilarious, though. Not sure why the sports page would say "Pray for New York," unless it's about Spidey's favorite baseball team, the New York Mets, for whom prayers are not enough. Later on in the trailer, we see Spidey and Michelle being hounded by new helicopters, so this isn't going well. But they take refuge on top of a bridge, which, Peter, you better Spidey your ass right the hell down off that bridge right this instant. You know what happens when you bring your girlfriends to bridges. Knock it off, Steve Ditko. Let's take a moment to appreciate the fact that Steve Ditko co-created both Spider-Man and Doctor Strange, and here they are sharing the screen in an impossibly mega-budgeted film. Ditko absolutely would have hated this for any number of reasons, but especially because he barely ever saw a dime from all the Spidey and Strange merchandise through the years. Why am I bringing this up, aside from the obvious? Because Ditko's name is literally in the first shot of the trailer, as some graffiti on the wall behind Peter and MJ. I'm sure Mr. Ditko wouldn't have approved of street artists like this. Either Damage Control. We see Peter being interrogated by someone in law enforcement, and it's clear that Mysterio's frame job is sticking pretty well. But wait, look more closely at the insignia on this guy's jacket. He's not an ordinary Fed. That DODC stands for Department of Damage Control. Remember them from Spider-Man: Homecoming? These are the folks who get called in to take care of the messes after big superhero-supervillain battles. Here comes Daredevil. While there's no official sign of Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock in this trailer, it sure seems like Peter could use a good lawyer right about now, and it's hard to imagine a better time to bring in Daredevil, the most beloved character from Marvel's Netflix era. Unless, of course, the faceless individual who slams a stack of files down in front of Peter is, in fact, Murdock. Anyway, it should come as no surprise that Peter wants his secret identity back, and he's already fought side by side with exactly the kind of guy who could help him do exactly that. Of course, the thing that reminds him of this are these Halloween decorations that look like if someone tried to describe Doctor Strange to Jon Favreau's Happy Hogan, and then Happy went and whipped up some cosplay based on the description. It's kind of cool that this movie seems to at least partially take place around Halloween. The MCU Spider-Man movies have always had a particular sense of time that most MCU flicks lack, although yes, Virginia, Iron Man 3 is a Christmas movie. Spider-Man: Homecoming took place at the start of the school year in September, while Spider-Man: Far From Home was a summer vacation movie. Assuming the end of that film was late summer, Peter has been dealing with his new and hellish existence for anywhere from 60-90 days by this point in the trailer. Paging Doctor Strange. Dr. Stephen Strange Benedict Cumberbatch returns as Doctor Strange for the first time since Avengers Endgame, and he appears to be doing well for himself. He does, however, seem a little too eager to help Peter by casting a spell that is meant to either just erase the memory of the world that Peter is Spider-Man, or perhaps, as Peter puts it, make it so Mysterio never went public with his identity. Hell, Wong even shows up to tell him what a mistake that would be. And Stephen, being Stephen, he ignores the hell out of him. Also worth noting that Peter trying to wish his troubles away via magic is also the basic idea of one of the most hated Spider-Man stories in all of history, the loathed One More Day, which undid Peter's marriage to Mary Jane in exchange for the life of Aunt May. The broken spell, of course, leave it to Peter's anxious ass to have second thoughts at the last minute. You see, he wants Aunt May, MJ, and Ned to remember the fact that he's Spider-Man. On the one hand, that's nice, and reminds us that Peter is a good kid who still feels guilty about deceiving his friends. On the other hand, look at the big picture, dude. You can just reveal your secret to them after the fact. Also, is something wrong with Doctor Strange? For one thing, he never should have agreed to this. But for another, it's clear that something isn't quite right in the Sanctum Sanctorum since it's snowing indoors. Is Strange having trouble with his magic for some reason? Will this be one of the things we have to deal with in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness? The multiverse anyway. Peter's interruption screws everything up. How? That's not entirely clear just yet. But it seems to be the Nexus event that either sends Peter into other corners of the MCU multiverse, or allows variants from other Spidey realities to start filtering into the sacred timeline. The black and gold Spider-Man costume. The long-rumored black and gold Spider-Man costume seems to make its first appearance here. Is this a new suit Peter has whipped up, or is he quantum leaping into some variant form of himself elsewhere in the multiverse? This scene also appears to take place in the charity where Aunt May works. Get ready for the Sinister Six. We get the introductions, reintroductions, of at least 3 villains in this trailer, and 3 is halfway to 6, which can only mean that Sony has finally found a way to do that supervillain team-up Sinister Six movie they've been threatening us with for so long. Electro? Is this lightning bolt blowing up police cars our first confirmation that Jamie Foxx is Electro from the film we'd all rather forget? The Amazing Spider-Man 2 is indeed making his return here? There's another shot that also makes me think this is more than just some multiversal storm. Green Goblin. Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin is definitely about to make an appearance. That's a pumpkin bomb, alright, and you can just barely hear his sinister cackle. Dr. Octopus returns, and, of course, the biggest applause moment in the trailer comes with the return of Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus, one of the great big screen supervillains of all time. Is his Hello, Peter directed at Tom Holland's Peter Parker? Or is possible that he's addressing another Peter entirely, perhaps one played by Tobey Maguire? In any case, this scene looks like it might happen right after that pumpkin bomb explosion, which would mean that Dr. Octopus and Green Goblin have already teamed up by this point. Who else might be joining them in battle? We'll find out soon enough. Spider-Man: No Way Home opens on December 17th. Want to point out a Spider-Man or MCU Easter egg we missed? Just want to freak out about how cool this looks? Let us know in the comments.